Hello, everyone. I am Matt Williamson at Williamson NFL, and once again, I'm coming to you late night. This time after round 2 and 3, of course. Steelers only made one pick, so there's not a ton of Steelers news. I just want to do a deep dive here into the running back from Iowa that they took, Kaleb Johnson. I didn't think he'd fall this long. I really didn't. I think he's a very, very good fit for the team. I think that they were keeping their fingers crossed every step of the way that he would get this far, and he did. So I want to start with the negatives, and I don't think there's a lot. But why would he have fallen this far? He ran mid to high 4.5s at the combine. Not great. With a pretty slow 10-yard split. So that was a negative, but he's a bigger guy. By the way, he was 10 pounds heavier at his pro day than he was at the combine. I mean, his pro day was like 235. He was like 225 at the combine. That being said, he has a lot of breakaway runs. I absolutely think he plays faster than he times. He has a lot of good data with pads on, ball in his hand, miles per hour data tracking that imply that he's not slow. He was also a highly accomplished, accomplished, I don't say highly accomplished, track athlete in high school as well. He's not slow. He's faster than Najee. I mean, that was something I've been asked a bunch. The other concern, which is just really an incomplete grade, because if you watch any Big Ten football, Iowa does not throw the football. And get this out of the way. Every defense on the planet just keyed on this guy, and he ran into stack boxes at a ridiculous rate. And I'm going to get to some of those numbers on the back half of the podcast. But the passing game is somewhat of a complete unknown. I mean, he can catch the football, but if anything, it's just a dump pass here and there. I mean, there's not really any route running to evaluate, and there's really little pass protection to evaluate. But he is from now until opening day to prove he can pass protect, and he certainly has the size, the length. You don't want to be a short arm running back in protection. He's not. The physicality, the want to, the competitiveness. So if you have those things in place, I'm sure he'll be a work in progress. I've been up for a long time in protection, and Warren, I'm sure, will be the third down back, or Gainwell. But I think that there is a lot of optimism that he should be able to turn into a fine pass protecting back. Okay, what's the good stuff? First of all, he is a diverse scheme runner. I mean, he's not just a one scheme guy, but is clearly at his best in the Arthur Smith outside zone stuff. Really good vision, good patience, despite his 10-yard split, a real good burst of sticking that foot in the ground and attacking on the outside zone, exactly what you're looking for. The scheme and the player really match up well. He is a big back. As I mentioned, he's probably going to play around 230, which is sizable for today's NFL. 6'1"-ish, ripped up, good-looking frame, no fat on his body at all. Punishing runner, gets better as the game goes on. Has a lot of production late in games, despite taking a beating. Beats up on a defense. And I think that stuff all translates. He has real good vision. He has real good cutback ability. If things aren't there, cut it back against the grain. A lot of long runs. And again, I can't stress this enough. I mean, the whole planet was keying on Kaleb Johnson this past year for Iowa, and no passing game to speak of at all in this offense. His first year there, he was quite productive, as a freshman, quite productive, quite impressive. Got hurt pretty much his entire second year, and then went insane last year and was one of the best backs in the country. So not a ton of wear and tear, really good scheme fit. Arthur Smith was at the podium afterwards. They didn't have the running back coach up there, and you could see his optimism of him matching the scheme with some breakaway ability, although he didn't test great. more so than Najee for sure, breakaway ability, but also not sacrificing that ability to wear down a defense. I mean, we talked about this a ton. I was a little concerned, worried, intrigued by, do they want the smaller, super fast guy, or do they want Najee and Jerome? Well, they kind of got a mixture of both, and so this was one of the few guys that kind of checked the majority of those boxes. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for all your sports betting action. The Final Four is upon us, and BetOnline has more ways to stay in on the action with the latest odds, news, and scores, even live in-game betting while the games are played. With the largest selection of odds on everything from college basketball to MLB, NHL, and UFC, even the Kentucky Derby and NFL season futures are ready for you to bet. In between games, head over to BetOnline Casino with all the top Vegas-style games, including poker and live casino. BetOnline, the game starts here. As mentioned, I think a lot of you follow me on Twitter at Williamson NFL. I just did a lot of cutting and pasting after he was selected and a deeper dive as we were on the air. And I just want to read you some of these things that I think you'll like a lot. And again, stacked boxes. And that's one thing I want to get to. We've talked about this a lot. With Pickens and Metcalf, the number of stacked boxes the Steelers are going to face is going to be way lower than it has been. I mean, that's one of the beauties of the Metcalf-Pickens combination. So I would think he's going to see a lot less, stacked box situation. But here's just a couple stats to back up what I've been saying that are pretty impressive. Last season, Kaleb Johnson averaged just 1.95 yards per carry when first contact came at or behind the line of scrimmage. Okay, I mean, that's the 67th percentile. That's still not bad. But an absurd 10.2 yards per carry on all other runs. That's 96th percentile. So if he's not hit behind the line of scrimmage, he averaged 10.2 yards per carry. That's crazy. And think of this. Kaleb Johnson faced stacked boxes at an ungodly rate. Over 50% of his career runs came with 8 or more defenders in the box, while no other running back from this year's class was over 39%. He was slightly over 50%. That's bonkers. A couple more. Kaleb Johnson faced 7.1 defenders in the box per run, the second highest rate in this entire class behind Caleb Mullings, a short yardage back for the Michigan Wolverines, by the way. But he also had 55 fewer rushes than Johnson. He faced a light box on a class low 27.5% of his runs, while facing 8 or more defenders in the box on 31.7% of his runs, second highest rate. When given a light box, he racked up a class high 9.8 yards per carry. Class high, that includes Genty, the Ohio State guys. The only other backs with over 8 yards per carry when facing a light box were Ashton Genty and Travion Henderson. They were the only two over 8. He was best at 9.8. All right, last one here. And you can tell I'm pretty excited about the player. I didn't think he'd get there in the third round. Kaleb Johnson accounted for 40.4% of Iowa's offensive yards. All the offensive yards they created. And remember, he's not catching the ball. 40.4% of all Iowa's yards came from Kaleb Johnson, trailing only Ashton Genty, who's at 42% basically among backs in this class. And Genty caught the football a ton. So it's basically just Johnson is this entire offense. And when he's not hit behind the line of scrimmage, he's ripping off chunk runs left and right, and even against stack boxes, doing a tremendous job. So I think those numbers should really have you excited about his situation, his scheme fit, physicality. I'm a fan. I really didn't think he'd be there. So good start to the draft so far, especially if you look at DK Metcalf, Harmon, Metcalf, and Johnson. Yeah, man, sign me up.